Hey everybody, Jay Young here with the Jay Young Show, and I got Jordan. Jordan, welcome to the show today. Man, I'm so excited this Christmas season. I'm excited. I can't wait for Landman to come on. I want to wait. It comes on at like it's either 2 or 3 a.m. on Sunday. He doesn't wait until Sunday night at 6 o'clock. It comes on like at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I want to wake my wife up and tell her, hey, it's time. Landman just came out the new episode, and I want to wake her up at 3 a.m., but that's probably not the best. If you're gonna set goals, no, that's not a good goal to set.
I was gonna say you have to let us have our beauty sleep.
Oh,
Otherwise, it's a bad situation for everyone
oh,
involved.
it is. We're watching 1883. We're getting into 1923 pretty soon, which is the prequels to Yellowstone. But hey,
Oh, cool.
if you're not watching Landman, it's incredible. Really a
I've
good show.
heard I've heard really good things. It keeps popping up on my timeline. Is it on Netflix or what? Where is it on?
Paramount. It's all Paramount. That's Taylor
Okay.
Sheridan has done the Paramount. He's turned Paramount upside down with all his shows, Lioness and everything, and just what a guy. I mean, man, we need to have him on the show. I got a call today at 1:20 with one of our guys. I'm gonna say, hey, just don't. I don't care. Just go after Taylor Sheridan. Don't do anybody else. Call him every day if you have to. Get him on the show, man. That's so exciting. I'll tell you what. But hey, let's.
By the way, love the hat, by the
Oh,
way.
hey, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Well,
Is that a Christmas gift or was that just in the closet?
that was in the closet, and I kept looking at it going, man, with Landman and Texas, and, I grew up out here, and when you're in West Texas, I mean, it's kind of like a necessity. When you're out in West Texas and you're in the
Oh my
sun,
gosh.
and
But okay, explain to me the purpose of it because you have the different types of hats, right? You have the suede hat, you have the straw hat,
yeah,
which is yours a straw hat?
this is a straw. This is a summertime hat, and then after
Okay. Oh,
Easter,
there's different types.
yeah,
Got it.
then you have a felt, and he does wear the felt on the show um, when he dresses up, But the
Right.
straws normally this I bought this when I was out there one time, and I was going to be outside on the rig for a while, and I didn't want to. You can't wear baseball hats are good, but you're going to get sunburn. Anyway, these are
Is it like for the back of your neck and then
oh,
like your
absolutely,
ears and then your
absolutely.
face? Like just it's to like cover all of that?
Yeah, it's hot. I mean, it's not. It's hot, and you want to get as much. I mean, they have sombreros. Maybe I should wear a sombrero next time.
Oh, I'll wear a sombrero. It's not just for birthday celebrations at Mexican food restaurants, all right?
There
It
you
is for
go.
daily wear as
There you
well.
go. Margaritas and sombreros on the.
Oh, there you
That's what we
go.
need to have next time that Jordan comes to the rig. Sombreros and margaritas.
There you go.
No, but I love the hat. I like the Taylor Sheridans, the Landman, Billy Bob Thornton. I mean, it's just a great show. It kind of brings to life a lot of us in the oil and gas industry. My great grandfather probably witnessed a tremendous amount of blowouts and pipe rolling on things like that in his career,
Right.
in his whole career, but not in 2-3 weeks like it does on the episode. And I guarantee there wasn't any good looking women in the oil field in Kahoma, Big Spring, where my great grandfather grew up, or my grandfather. There wasn't any women like that out there for sure. But man, what a
But that's
show!
fun though. I think, this is something that we've talked a lot about on the show is like, how do you humanize the industry in a way that makes it engaging to a younger audience? Because there's not ever really been that kind of positive or enlightening conversation around the energy industry.
Hmm.
And I think that we've, like, as a society, kind of become so we were never really engaged, but now I feel like we're even so much more removed from how do we produce power? What does it look like to produce electricity? And I have a few friends that have Teslas, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I saved so much money on gas." And then I'm just thinking, and I had this realization the other day, and I was like, well, but don't you have to charge it like at your house? So what does that do to your electrical bill when you have to
Hmm.
charge a vehicle? And does that really shoot like the cost of gas, and then if you are powering it through your home, then what does that look like for the energy that we're producing? If our grids are already struggling in Texas, you have a Tesla, you're pulling even more electricity. What does that look like in the grand scheme of things? And if we have more cars in electric, does that put more strain and more pressure on the electrical grid?
Right.
So I don't know if anyone has the answer to that. If you do, please comment below. But that was just something that was
Yeah.
popping in my head. I was like, it sounds great, but nothing is ever like free, So
Hmm.
like where does that cost come in?
Yeah. But yeah, true. But when I look at, or we look at the overall oil demand, what's the demand for oil? I mean, take Tesla, take, a little bit less gasoline in tanks. I mean, gasoline only makes up like 60% of oil demand, right? So
Oh,
even
okay.
if you took every single car off the grid and said, okay, tomorrow nobody drive a car, like there would still be, that'd be kind of crazy, but 40% 40% is non-gasoline products. So there is a like the tires on a Tesla, the plastics, the lipsticks. I mean, there's just so many different products that are made
Right.
from oil that we're always going to have oil demand, and we don't feel like oil demand or oil demand will go down until like 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, it's going to continue to go up, which means we need more
Yeah.
oil. We need to drill. So therefore, Trump's very popular in the drill baby drill
Yes.
stuff. So, hey, let's get to our goals, because I don't want it to be too long, but also I want to make sure that we get into the goals, man, because I'm
Yes.
excited. I want to help you,
Yeah,
Jordan. How can I help you with your goals?
yeah, this is something that we've talked a lot about like offline, and we've kind of dabbled a little bit in the conversations on the shows. And I think as a beginning entrepreneur, it is tough for me to understand. Like, I think when I first was trying to get started, the main goal for me was just get started. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to go.
Right.
So, of course that comes with putting out fires, like uh, listing an Airbnb live and then realizing like, oh, the AC is actually not working right now and I need an electrician here immediately. But
Right.
then working through all of that and getting that up and running. So that was the main goal. And I struggle, Jay. I struggle, and I would love your insight on this. It's like, how do you really create the SMART goals? Because I tend to be really big picture. I get lost in like the dream of it all, and so creating SMART goals that are like, time sensitive, actually attainable, and then impactful for the business. Like, how do you go about doing that? And do you just like take the goals that you had the year previous and then like elevate them a little more, or do you just like, how do you even get started with crafting those goals? Because I have a few in mind and I can share them,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe you can offer feedback, or if you just want to like start off with like, okay, here's my approach to creating goals. Well,
Yeah.
either way,
Well, you
I'm
definitely
open
need to
to it.
look at what you did last year, right? Obviously, but you need to look at exactly what you accomplished last year. It's not
Right.
if you set a goal of a particular number and you hit it. Obviously, you need to elevate that a little bit, okay? But what do you
Okay.
need in place to make sure you do it? But I think what a lot of people do is they dream, or they think about, or they watch too much social media or TikTok
Yes.
and private planes and the fur coats and all these different things. You mentioned fur coat.
You
I'm
know I
sorry.
love a good
I
fur
know.
coat.
Hey,
You
and
know I
I don't
do.
blame you. I don't blame you. You know,
The mink calls to me.
oh man, and it looks good on you. I know, but what we
Thank
have to,
you.
yeah, what we have to make sure is that it's, let's think about SMART goals, okay?
Yeah.
And let's go through that, and then let's go down and break down some goals for people, because I know that
Okay.
this is really important. But when you look at SMART, SMART, S means a specific goal. What is it
Okay.
that you want to obtain? And it can be personal, it can be financial, it can be spiritual. You can read the
Mm-hmm.
Bible. You can read a chapter a week, or a chapter. No, don't do it. Yeah, a chapter a week, or a book a week, or whatever the case may be. What is it that you want to obtain? Because what you want to do is you want to feel good about, hey, I want to achieve something, but I also want to know, hey, how am I going to feel once I obtain that goal. I mean,
Right.
I really hit it. It's kind of like running a marathon or something, and
Yeah.
getting to the finish line.
Right.
We don't have, unless we put up our own finish lines, we don't really see that. So we've got to make sure that we do set up our own finish lines. Because if
So
I hit it,
specific would be, sorry to cut you off, but
no.
specific would be like, okay, I want, like, this goal is related to Airbnb, or
Mm-hmm.
this goal is related to my financial standing, or this goal is related to my spiritual growth. Like, when we're talking about specifics, that's how we structure it to make it a specific, like, in the direction of this goal is pointed towards this. And then the M is measurable.
Yeah, measurable.
Okay.
So yeah, it has to be measurable. It has to be something that you say, "Hey, I want to make $200,000 next year." Okay.
Okay.
How do and also the A, SMART. So the A is achievable. Is it achievable?
Okay.
I can't say I want to be worth more than Elon Musk next year. I'd have
Right.
to.
I mean, we
Whoa.
could dream, but yeah, it's not attainable. It's not
Yeah,
something
it's got to be obtainable.
realistic.
Yeah, it's got to be realistic, SMART, and then it's got to be timely. When's the time that I'm going to finish this goal? So let's just talk about that for a second, or think
Yeah.
about how much money do you want to make next year? If you want to make $200,000 next year, have you ever reached 200,000? No. Have you ever gotten close? And yes, but what is it that I need to do to make sure that I'm obtaining that goal, or what do I need to do on a daily basis to make sure that I achieve that goal? I think that's what a lot of people they sit and think about what it would be like to achieve that goal, but they have to also go in and go, wait a minute. I did this back in 2019, 2021 when I was sitting there and thinking about, my business, and we were really down a lot. I mean, really down. And I started listening to Grant Cardone again. And because Grant's a great motivator, he's a great motivator. Some of the
Right.
things he does, I don't necessarily implement, but at that time I started listening to Zig Ziglar and Grant Cardone, Tony
Yeah.
Robbins, the people that helped me realize that, hey, what did you do yesterday? Literally measured success yesterday, and is that on the form of 365 days in a year? You get a half
Right.
percent better, but you have to measure something. Put money in the
Yeah.
bank. Type
Right.
deal. So I think that's a
Well, and
big
hold
part of
yourself
it.
accountable, right? I think that that's the other part, because you can have all of these plans or goals or things that you're working towards, but if you're not holding yourself accountable towards, like, actually implementing the goal or the plan to get to that goal, then you're going to be struggling the entire time. So, like, and it's uncomfortable. I think that that's something that's not really talked about a lot, is like, whenever you are striving for more, or you're like trying to reach this new goal and you're stretching yourself, it's uncomfortable to do. It's something that there may be a little bit of that imposter syndrome of, like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I have what it takes. Like, there might be a little bit of that, but at the end of the day, like, that's where trusting yourself kind of comes into play. But I think also, along with that, which you just mentioned, is like the measurable part of that goal. Like, what are the key milestones? What are those key indicators that say, okay, I'm on the right track towards achieving this goal, and this is something that I want to do next year.
Right.
So I have a few goals actually in mind that I would love to share. I don't know if you have any goals that you have that you'd like to share, but I would love for us to kind of discuss what those goals are, if
Okay.
if you are ready.
Man,
Okay.
this is what this show's about today. This is about helping you, helping. Well, and I want to say one thing before you get there, okay? And what I mean, what I wanted to say was, and don't lie to yourself. When you think that
Right.
you're holding yourself accountable and you don't do what you're supposed to be doing, don't lie to yourself, because that's easy to do. Man, I'm 50. I'm 60. I'm 61 now. I'll be 62 in a few days. But I'm just saying that even in the 50s, when I was 2019, 2021, when our business went really down, and
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, okay, hey, I'm okay. I'm going to do this. I tried to stay
Right.
optimistic, but you don't. You need to make sure that you put that. And I say money in the bank. You're not really actually taking money and putting it in the bank, but it's something that you see that you're doing. Okay, like
Yeah.
if I'm selling and I'm getting out 10 documents a day, I want to make sure I get 10 documents out a day because that's how I make money, right? It's like
Right.
this show and we're going to talk about this show and trying to get sponsors. Well, how do you get
Right.
sponsors? Well, you're not sitting there waiting for them to contact you. You know,
Right.
if
No, that doesn't really happen. No,
no,
you
it
have
hasn't
to
happened
go out and
yet.
chase it.
I mean,
You have to go
I'm
get
sitting
it.
here, I'm sitting here waiting for somebody to call me. Nobody calls you. You know, it's like that's not going to happen. So anyway, let's talk
Yet,
about one of your
not
goals.
yet. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my goals is to um, partner with a nonprofit organization
Mm-hmm.
so that I can start that philanthropy effort. I think that it's really important to give back, and so I am looking towards partnering with somebody. So that was my idea, and again, like I struggle with making goals, so this is kind of how my mind works, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe this helps somebody. Maybe I'm on the right track. I don't know, but so that was my first
Let's talk
idea. It's
about it
like,
for a
okay,
second. Why is that so important to you? Because you're not making any money.
right,
You got to take care of yourself. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it
right.
makes you feel good. It makes, if you come on the Jay Young show and tell them that, hey, we're a big sponsor of Yes, but it's not, we need to make sure we put money in the bank. Okay.
Right.
We want you to pay your bills. We want to get that mink coat. Let's get that
Oh
mink
yeah,
coat by
absolutely.
December. By the end of the year, we're going to save up enough money so you can buy that mink coat next year. So
Yes.
when you go to
Um,
skiing, you just kind of go by that store and you go, I gotta have it.
I can't afford that this time.
Right. Next year we're going to do it. So what do we need to do to get you there? Right.
Right, right. Well, one, I think it's important to be a part of a nonprofit organization so that you can be a part of some of the same circles that other people who are high achievers and who are also giving back are involved in this organization. So we've had David Reed on the show before. So I just had a little conversation with them yesterday about starting to get involved in that nonprofit work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my goals because
Okay.
that's like spiritual for me. Like
Yeah.
that's like my spiritual growth, I think, is what that is. Like I have this large desire to like give back towards others and help them, and if I can help in some way, shape or form stop human trafficking, I definitely want to do that. So I think at least within the first quarter to start doing one event a month with Red M to help elevate their outreach and help them with setting up their a little bit more of the outreach with like social media and things like that. So that's my goal with Red
Okay.
M within the first quarter to start doing one event a month with them.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Good.
Is that a smart goal? Did I just do it?
That's smart. It's specific. It's measurable. It's achievable. It's what's the R again? R is the realistic.
Realistic?
It's realistic and it's also timely. So once a month we'll do it. So hey,
Well, there you go.
we'll write that one down. We'll see how you do. Okay. Good.
Oh, perfect. Yay.
Once a month on
yeah.
Red M. Red M. You said Red M.
Red M, yep.
Okay.
They have networking events for their Houston chapter, and so I want to start working with them to either start helping host the event or to start talking with people at those networking events to talk about what Red M does and how other people can get involved.
Yeah.
So, but I overdo myself sometimes and I overcommit and then I get burnt out. So I'm trying really hard to not do that and to be like, okay, once a month sounds attainable. Like I can dedicate that instead
Yeah.
of doing like, okay, 3 times a week, like
Right.
that's not realistic nor attainable for me at this point in time.
Right.
Okay, so that's the spiritual give back goal.
Okay.
The next goal is for this show, and that is for us to get a sponsorship established.
Okay.
So I would like for us, do we say specific numbers? I don't know if that's like
No, you can.
tacky.
Absolutely. Let's do
Okay,
it.
okay. But I would love for us to get, a $5,000 sponsorship to start.
5,000.
And
I thought you were going to say 100,000. I was like,
is that how, I don't know. I feel like to start, you do okay. I don't
do you
know.
sell
Am I like totally?
how do you sell them? How do you what do you do? Do they? You don't want to sell something and them come in and take over your podcast because they give you $5,000 or something.
Well, no. I think that that's where you like you set up the show so that you have where their sponsorship would be placed,
Yeah.
right? So I'm of the mind of like, I don't think it works well to kick off with sponsorship talk because one, I don't see any other content creators doing that. Normally, they either do it in the middle or they do it right after their beginning tease
Mhm.
because you want to get people invested with that hook. Then you want to pitch them and then you want to give them the bulk of what the stories are about.
Mhm.
So we'll figure that out. But I do think that to start, you could have a 5,000. I mean, but I also undersell myself. So,
Yeah.
but I do think it pertains to how many downloads are we getting? How many views are we getting? And
Mhm.
those could be goals as well. And then with those downloads and that viewership, then we start targeting who the sponsor would look like and define that. And then once we define that, then we pitch them with a pitch deck that says, here's our demographic. These are the type of people that listen to the show. Here's the number of downloads that we get and the number of streams that we get.
Yeah.
And with all of this information, do you find it valuable to be a part of this show as a sponsor? And if you do, then let's
Mhm.
partner together and let's start off with a 1/4 $5,000 a month buy-in and
Mhm.
then go from there.
Hmm. Okay.
And then they can be our guinea pig. And then once we see the return on them, and if we're producing enough leads for them, then they're
Yeah.
seeing the value of it, and then that becomes our case study.
Yeah.
And
That's
then we
good.
can pitch a higher number.
Well, you're not locking them in for 10 years for a $5,000 sponsorship or something.
No, yeah, no, we wouldn't.
We're doing a big one. We're
The
just doing
the goal is to grow the show. Like,
Yeah.
I would love for our show by the end of this next year to have. This is where we need Laura on the show, our marketing director.
I know,
Laura, where
yeah.
are we at with our numbers?
Well, yeah, where we
But
are with our numbers and where do we need to go, and also too, I want to say something before we get too far off on this, but you know, there's a good thing here that we don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know. I'm talking about Jared Glanth. I was going back and forth with Jared this morning on he's Grant Cardone's number one guy or number two
yeah,
or whatever you call him, right hand. But I was going back and forth with him today, and I know he said that. That was the first time I ever heard that. You don't know what you don't know, and I go, what does that mean? You know, but what
I guess you don't know.
I don't know. If I didn't know, hell, I wouldn't be on the show. But what it is, and we don't know how to get sponsorships, or we don't know what sponsorships look like. So we need to engage. Our first goal before we even think about all this other sponsorship and blah, who, what, when, where. We got to find somebody that knows what a sponsorship is, or what does that mean. You know, we got a
Right.
great show. I mean, I kind of take this out of my profits and put the show on and help with the productions and all this stuff. And I'm all in. We've done
Right.
151, 2, 3, 4 shows. I can't remember how many shows I've done. I enjoy this.
I want to say it's 154.
Yeah, it's a lot of shows. I've done this a lot, and I enjoy doing it. You know, and I just want to make sure that I'm connecting to somebody that or the audience that likes listening. I do hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I watched your show," or my daughter's roommate Bryn has her parents and grandparents in Manhattan Beach that listen to the show, and if I knew what your names were, I would say it specifically. Thank you for listening to the show, and I will get that number. I thought about it last night. I need to get their name from Bryn so I can say thank you specifically. But we do have a lot of people that listen to the show, and what is it that people want to hear? And let's do it. I'm really
Yeah.
pumped up about getting the show better and bigger and doing everything I can. But I've already got a job, you know, and
Right.
I don't really spend a lot of time, but I need to find somebody that can help us, 10x this show. And that's what I'm saying, 10x when we talk about a $5,000 sponsorship. I think we
Right.
need to do a $100,000 sponsorship. Man, get somebody out there that says, "Hey, let's put $100,000 in." Why wouldn't we? I mean, 5,000 is not that
Well,
much.
Jay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
whenever I first started with Airbnb, I only had the cleaning fee at like $30 because I was like, I don't want people to feel like I'm gouging them and like, overcharging for cleaning fees. But now I understand that actually it's like $60 to $80 per cleaning that you have. And if you have a one night stay
Mm-hmm.
and your price is only $60 and the cleaning fee is 30 and somebody is costing $80 to clean the place, then that doesn't really make sense as a profit margin, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I had to learn. And so then I was like, okay, I need to actually up the cleaning fee number to be, 50 or $60 depending on which unit it is, so that I can then justify the pay towards the cleaning people, because you don't want to stress yourself out by putting in so much effort into what business that you're creating, and
Mm-hmm.
then but not just like but the effort is not justified by the money coming in, like the P&L is off balance.
Yeah.
So
But
so
you get
that's
one you
something
get
that
one
actually,
group that comes in to have a high school reunion party in your place and for one night and leave it trashed up, and
or
you'll appreciate that.
someone
Yeah,
smokes a cigarette in the
absolutely.
unit, which just happened. So
Marijuana.
that was
Probably a lot
fun.
of marijuana going into Airbnbs. Anyway.
So we now have bought an ozone generator, which was $329.
Oh my gosh.
So
How many 30
trying to
days is that
recoup.
going to take? I mean, $30 a day
I
is that?
know, I know. But yeah, no. What to your point? Like, how do you? What is the value that we provide, and then allocating a number to the value, which there's a few stages I would say in entrepreneurship. And I would say the first stage is really having the dream to do it. Having the dream of wanting the autonomy, of working for yourself and providing for your family in a way that you've crafted. And then second stage of that is actually getting started and actually starting to do the thing, which you and I, we had the discussions about the show. We actually started the show. And then the third part of that is quantifying the value of what you've created so that you can then benefit or, create your P&L in a way that justifies the time that you're spending into it.
Right. What's
So,
three goals for the Jay Young Show? Let's just lay them out real quick. What's
yeah.
three good goals for the Jay Young Show?
I want one goal that I really want us to achieve, and we're so close to it, is having a guest on the show that is like the CEO of a well-known entity. So like the CEO of Hootsuite, or the CEO of Town Square Media, or the CEO of somebody, like, whether it's a publicly traded company or a privately held company.
Yeah.
I think that if I would like to have someone on that has a really well-known product and company that we have on the show as a guest.
Yeah, Harold Hamm. You've interviewed Harold Hamm before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could reach out to Harold
Yeah.
Hamm.
Reach out to somebody like Harold Hamm. He's an awesome guy.
He's so sweet.
Oh, I've never met him, but I did meet his daughter, and I've met some of his family. But I mean, what a humble. I mean, the guy started with nothing, zero. I mean,
Right.
and now he's worth 20, 30, 40 billion, whatever it is. But having a big guest, okay. Now, how do we?
Yeah.
Okay, let's break that down real quick. Now,
Okay.
how do we go after our VIP? Let's talk about VIP. Like Scott Turner just got elected to the Housing and Urban Development, and he's going to be the secretary there. We'll call him Secretary Scott Turner. He's a good friend of mine, and he'll be on the show next week. Okay,
Oh.
so I got him, and all because my wife
Does
goes.
that count? Does that reach our goal?
That's it, done. Okay, hey, we'll wrap it up just like a cowboy and wrap it up and say, okay, we got it done. No, we're going to
Right
do
off
somebody
into the
else, or
sunset.
one big guest a quarter.
I
Let's
love
do
that.
One
I love that.
big
Let's
guest
do that.
a quarter. So, but we can't. And I thought about like Phil Romano or Nolan Ryan or Reed Ryan or
Well, you know what? This goes
big
back to
VIPs.
like specific, right? Is
Yes.
like you have to specifically name the people, right? In
Yeah.
order for it to be an actual SMART goal. Is that true?
Yes. Well, you have to specify what it is that you're going after, right? Like one VIP guest a quarter. And we're going to have Scott on in January. So I guess that takes care of January, February, March. So we're going to think about somebody for the next one, but we need to write down who are 10 people that we feel like that we could have on the show, and then we need to
and then we reach out and then
bug
we
'em.
start that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Cuban, like Mark Cuban. Why not Mark Cuban?
Why not?
You know, I saw him the other day with his daughters at the Maverick game. Mark Cuban or Jason Kidd or Jerry
Your
Jones.
network is crazy, Jay.
You know?
So I feel like you have the contacts, and then
do.
I'll bring the questions.
Well, I know, but I need help because I'm not going to. This is where I need help, and this is good to talk about your goals. Is we need. I sit here and think, okay, Mark Cuban. Okay, what about Phil Romano at Nolan Ryan? What about Jared Glant? What about who? Blah blah blah. But just think about the 10 or 20 or 30 people in my network that I could go after. But somebody's got to help me go after them. Hold me accountable to talk about it or text Nolan. Like I could text Nolan today. I could call Nolan. I call Nolan right now. Let me see if he's answered the phone. No, but he called me last.
I thought you were going to. I was like, all right, it's really happening. Yeah. We're going for it.
But anyway, I can, but I have a good network.
I think that's attainable. I think that's attainable. Is one defined VIP person a quarter that's on the show, and then I think that also like speaks to the caliber of the guests that we have, which increases the valuation of the show, which then helps with the pitch deck, which then helps with our other goal of getting it sponsored.
Yes.
So I think that those kind of like all kind of tie in together.
Sponsorship next year. Let's think about one. We have to find somebody to help. I mean, that's like finding somebody to help me find 10 guests. Find somebody to help sponsor.
That's the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I was going to say is like, there's I think it's called like the creator method or something like that. But this woman, her name is Valerie, and she has a husband, but and a few kids. But she's a content creator, and she was really nervous about going into content creation the whole time, like as a full-time job, because she didn't have enough sponsorship money yet. But her husband, who's also a businessman, and I'll throw a dart out, and I'll see if I can pitch them on being on the show. But they were talking about that, and they were talking about how like even if you don't have the sponsorship now, if you believe in yourself and you believe in that show and you have a good product that is actually impacting people and then producing results, then you will get those sponsorships. It's just a matter of how much persistence do you have in doing that. And so one thing that you've mentioned is that you need help with that. So is that a goal for the show as well, is to add someone on the team who can take on that effort of reaching out to people and acting as a true producer for the show?
Definitely. I can't remember now, but I'm kind of going back in my thought pattern about the Zig Ziglar show. The Zig Ziglar, there wasn't a Zig Ziglar show. There was a Zig Ziglar person. But Zig said, if you're going to reach your goals, it's what's in it for you, what's in it for you. But also, I tell you, this mic really just messes me up. But anyway, okay. Trying to think. Okay, but what's in it for you? But also, who's going to have to help you get to your goals? You've got to find people or surround yourself with people that are going to help you with your goals. Because if you don't have the people to help you, you can't do everything. It's like me. I always say that people talk about, this. Dude, I already got a job. I don't need another job. I don't need to figure out what I need to do for you. You need to figure out what you're going to do for me. Cuban wears a T-shirt every day because he said, "Hey, people need to kiss my ass. I don't need to. I don't need to kiss anybody."
That does sound like Mark Cuban, though.
It does. I saw him the other day at the game. But anyway, I've asked him to be on the show twice, but only twice. And I'm going to ask him again.
But they say third time's a charm, Jay.
Well, that's true, and that's part of our goals is the VIP guest. He's on my list. But you got to find people to help you reach your goals. Because if you don't do it, what's in it for you? What's the big nugget? How does this help you get healthy, wealthy, wise? But also, who's going to have to help you? Because you can't set goals and go, yeah, I'm going to do it all, and all of a sudden you get wrapped up into something that doesn't work, and all of a sudden you lose interest, and then it's like the health club. How many health clubs how many health club memberships are sold in December, January, or whatever, and
Oh, it's like 50%.
yeah, and then all of a
It's pretty
sudden,
crazy.
yeah, then
I
people
used to
don't
work
go.
at a gym.
Yeah,
It's like 50%.
yeah, that'd be
And they
great.
usually drop off like after the annual fee hits, which is 3 months after, or they
Yeah,
just forget that they have the membership, and then they just keep paying.
I'm trying to think right now. Am I paying for a gym membership that I'm not using?
I
Probably.
know I am. So that's also a part of one of the goals is to actually get back into the gym. Because there's a difference between just being slim and being fit, and I would
Yeah,
like to be fit.
healthy, wealthy, wise, healthy.
Hey,
But
but you have your private trainer, so
I
I don't
do.
know if you
He
have
came
a
over this
gym
morning.
membership.
He came over this morning, man.
There you go.
Man, I'm for 61 and 97 percentile, almost not 62. I feel good, and I did a lot of push-ups this morning, and I did a lot. So I feel good about that. I love that. But I've got to have.
Good.
But I know one thing. If I don't have him coming over knocking on my door at 7 a.m., hey, time to work out, man, I would stay in bed and I would like,
Just hide out a little bit.
I don't
Well,
know,
Jay,
crazy.
what are your goals for this next year? I think I've kind
Yeah.
of tackled mine.
Well,
I
I
have
mean,
one extra goal. One of the other goals is to save up about roughly half of a down payment for another property so that I can invest in another Airbnb property, and then I can have 3 units listed for Airbnb so that I can keep that money, that passive income started.
yeah,
So
that's
I
great.
think those are my few goals right there. Is like nonprofit organization, save up 50% of a down payment to continue to invest in real estate,
I don't know if I
and
would
then
wait. I don't know if I would wait. I think I would just
really.
try to find them. Try to find if you could find a good deal, package it up and find an investor or something. You know what I'm saying? I
And
mean,
this is why you're where you're at,
yeah,
and I am just starting.
yeah. Well, I'm the ask
Because
questions
the
later
investor thing
type
to me is
deal.
like, how do you even go about asking people for money? Like, would I say like, okay, I have this unit,
Yeah,
this is my P&L that I expect for it. Give
yeah.
me money to
Well,
invest in this
no, hey,
property.
this is what, and if you have a little bit of money that you can find, you and your boyfriend put $1,000, 2,000, whatever, just a little bit of money together. Go get credit cards. One of the best stories ever. A guy that's making $1 billion a year right now, had his credit cards lined up on the island with him and his wife, and they were, I mean, it's like there's a lot of great stories. The big thing is read stories about successful people and how they got there. It's not just I guarantee you they didn't wait. They didn't sit there and wait and go, all right, well, I'm going to wait until once I get this money in the bank or whatever. They just went
Well,
out and
I
did
just
it,
feel like that's so middle class.
figured
I
it
feel like
out.
that's so middle class
Yeah,
mentality is to say like, okay, I need to put money away, I need to save it.
yeah,
Now I'm like, oh, I'll do it smarter. I'll put it on an all growth cap account, and
yeah,
then I'll be able to grow it, and then I'll take it out, and then it's like, ah.
yeah.
So
No, you're going to make the money. You're going to make the money. You'll have the people. You'll have the money. If you find a good real estate deal, find out what your parameters are and start talking to people. Put it down. This is what I'm looking for. I'm going to look for this kind of a piece of property. It's going to have,
yeah.
it's going to
Well,
have
I think
this. It's going to have whatever. I don't even know what it is, but just
it needs to be like a studio apartment like thing so
yeah,
that you can minimize the amount of cleaning costs and minimize the amount of space. A duplex would be ideal so that they have their own kitchens. If it has a washer and dryer, that's great because that provides more long-term stays. But then you need, like all of those details. But I would say like a duplex or multifamily home unit, just like
yeah.
you've talked about with like the apartment stuff,
Right.
that would be ideal.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Parameters, and then have those 10 things or whatever it is on a piece of paper, and you look at it every day. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this, and look at it every day and say, hey, I'm going to look for this every day. And then you just kind of look through the papers or whatever it is in Houston you're looking at to find properties, or you talk to real
Yeah.
estate agents and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And he may say, hey, isn't everybody? And just say, yep. And I'm one of those. You find it, I'm
Yes.
going to buy
Well,
it.
that's what happened when we have our real estate agent. She's amazing. Her name is Kirsten St. Augustine. But she worked with us. We have an amazing story. I actually would love to have her on the show 'cause she works with investors as well as first-time home buyers that are freelance, like 1099, self-employed. That's like her specialty. and I think she would be an amazing person to talk about to talk with on the show about like real estate investments and what that looks like, and from an investor standpoint versus a first time homeowner standpoint and things like that. Because I know you're really interested in buying property with investors in Telluride area. So
Yeah.
yeah, but we have gotten off track. Jay,
I
what are
know.
your goals for
What?
this
Well,
next year?
okay. Let's just say my goals real quick, and I've
Okay.
got several, and I got several for each company that we have right now. One of my goals for King operating our operating company is to spend $200 million next year. Okay, so our capex budget. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I don't know, but let's just say to spend a $200 million next year. How are we going to do that?
And
Well, my goodness, let's think about that for a second. Okay, we're going to spend 2 to 4. We'll spend $50 million in the Bivens property. We're going to spend that's the Amarillo property. We want to spend
okay.
$100 million in Midcon and another $50 million in non-op properties that we have right now. Okay, I want to produce over 2 million barrels of oil equivalent next year. That's another one. So that's one of our goals is to produce or I have produced and sold or whatever over 2 million barrels of oil. 2 million barrels of oil equivalent is another one.
Okay.
So that's kind of my capex goals. How do I achieve that? Well, I've got to have. It's good to say we're going to spend that to get to that level and that's about 10 to 12,000 barrels or 15,000 barrels a month production wise. But when I think about it, I think okay, I set my goals and say, okay, here's my capex. Here's what I want to spend next year because I want to have this many barrels coming in for our investors. So this is
Right.
what my goals. So now I got to look at it and this is what I've done is I've gone in my spreadsheets and said, okay, this is where I want to spend the money next
Mm-hmm.
year to this next level. This is what I need to spend, and then I look back and go, okay, so to spend $200 million next year, I've got to find $200 million, right? I mean, obviously. So, and then I map it out and say, okay, our partners will take X amount of this. I've got some other outside parties that will do it. Plus, I've got debt. So I'm just thinking about all the different things that we need to be able to do the $200 million. And so I know that, man, if I can think about that every day and have a meeting with people to think, what are we putting together? We're drilling 2 wells right now in Amarillo. We're going to drill 2 more. That's about 50 million. And then the other 15 wells or so in Mid-Continent is the other 100 million, and then the other 50 million will just be other projects that we participate on. So that's kind of that's kind of my goals that I'm thinking about, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
put it down. But what I've also done is I've also gone to my team and I've said, hey, let me know what your 3 goals are. What's your top
Oh,
3
I love
goals?
that.
Because
Yeah.
I can't do this alone. But it'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool. But if I could, but I can't, and I don't want to. I want to share. So how do I think about that from a standpoint of it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, and it's also timely. So we
Yeah.
produced my goal last year or this year in 2024 was to get to 1 million barrels of oil, and I think we're at 800 something.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, we've done pretty well, but we almost hit our goal. But no, but I
Yeah.
know now that if I could put these other things in action, I feel like that 2 million we can do 2 million barrels, which is a lot. I mean, that's 100.
Yeah,
What is
that's
that?
a lot.
100
Well,
something.
okay, so what you do is like whenever you're looking at your goals, you had your last year goal, you reflect on it, you take the information that you have obtained from that, and then you elevate your previous goal to be something that continues to grow you and grow the company, but in a way that is, like you said, smart.
Yeah.
It has all of those parameters in it. So now, Jay, my question for you is those are our wealthy goals. What are our wise and
Healthy, wealthy, and wise.
yeah, what is the healthy goal, and then what is the wise goal?
Yeah, good questions. When I think about healthy, I think about eating good. I can't help it. My wife really, she. I mean, I want to go to Mexican food, to enchiladas, and she's like, nope, nope, we're going to go over here and eat chicken, uh,
I mean, but
fish.
tacos are basically a salad. Tell me I'm wrong. It has
No,
meat, it
you're right.
has
I
lettuce,
know
tomato.
exactly, exactly. But healthy is just being, continuing to work out. My guy
Mm,
coming over 3 4 days a week. It's and I'll do some cardio and weights there. Wise, continue to read. I have my papers every morning that I read, and
yeah,
I look at that to read and to understand more about what's going on. There's good books out there. I want
yeah,
to study the Bible more. I mean, I want to study the Bible more. Bible's a great book, and I want to study it more. I've thought about having some Christian inspiration on the show every once in a while, or talking about more about Christianity. I
yeah,
don't know about that.
yeah.
We need to talk about that. It's something that I don't want to just throw on you and say, oh hey, we're now a
No,
Christian
but
show.
I think that you're onto something there. I do think that having faith and being spiritually uh, stable, I think that as I mean, from what I've seen, it's been very impactful to pretty much everyone we've had on the show.
Hmm.
Everyone we've had on the show has talked about having faith in one shape or another.
Yeah, yeah,
And so is that Christianity specific? Is that spiritual? I think that whenever people hear the word religion, sometimes they cower because it's been so suffocating. But when we're
yeah,
talking about spirituality, I think that there's something a little bit more freeing about that. And I think that it opens the conversation to what faith looks like for each person
yeah.
instead of a, Southern Baptist hellfire kind of conversation.
Well, not even
Um,
that as much as just people that use religion to take advantage of other people. And I've seen
yes.
it. I've seen it, and I don't like it. And I don't. And
Yeah.
I've thought about bringing this up before, and it just my wife and I have talked about it, Michelle, and I thought, hey, I want to have Christianity in the show, and I like to pray or maybe have a verse. Today's verse
Yeah.
is John 3:16, and talk about that. Talk about Luke 2, because that's when Jesus was born. Other, and I'm
Sorry,
like,
my
I,
mom's dog is like
oh,
wanting to get out.
okay. Hey
He's
Pooch,
very
hey Pooch,
excited.
hey Pooch. But having that or thinking about, but I don't want people to think, oh yeah, here's Jay Young. He's trying to get people's money to invest in oil and gas because he's trying to take
Right.
advantage of people. I hate that, and I don't want that at all. And I guess that's what I'm afraid of with people to think about. I want to be real, and if anybody knows me personally, I am real. Of course everybody's real, but I'm a good
Or are we in a
person.
simulation?
I'm
No,
not
just
going to
kidding.
take, yeah, yeah. I'm not going to take advantage. I love Christianity. I pray. I do all these things, and I don't want people to think, oh yeah, he's using Christianity to get ahead. I don't need to get ahead. I don't need to use Christianity to get ahead. I'm already ahead, right? I've
Right.
already got
Well,
success.
that's
Been very blessed.
that's an interesting conversation because I think Mike Tyson was on a show with Grant Cardone, and Mike had said, it's already been written. Like my life has already been written, and so this was the path for my life.
Right.
I've chosen things and I have free will, and I've gotten to where I am, but it's already been written in that way. And it was interesting to see Grant react to that because I don't know that he necessarily believed that, but I think that there is this interesting kind of, it's not a battle, but it is this all like almost like cognitive dissonance of thought, which is like
Mm-hmm.
I have faith and I know that this is meant for me and I'm built for this.
Right.
But then
Right.
at the same time, it's like, okay, how can I control this scenario and then produce this outcome, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not a worry because I know faith and worry can't coexist, but there is something to be said about having that faith and then walking forward with confidence, knowing that your path is already, you know, ahead of you,
Yeah.
but then also having that like, okay, but I need to make this happen. Because again, there's like the opportunity, but then there's the action with the opportunity. And
Right.
so and then there's one other point to this as well, right, Jay, which is okay, we have this platform. What do you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
And who do you reach with it and how are you reaching them? And
Right.
how can you then show yourself in this light of, hey, here's where I'm at in my spirituality. Here's how it impacts myself, my business, and those around me. And this is how I go forward. And it doesn't have to be a conversation of this is the right way. It's I mean, you could have that conversation, and I've known many Christians who have done that, but everybody's on their in their own path and in their own time.
Right.
And some people arrive to spirituality later in life and some arrive sooner. And so it just depends on the person and where they're at because, if they try and commit to something sooner than they're ready for it and ready to accept it, then it won't resonate and then they will be in conflict with themselves and that conversation and that's not the turmoil is not a fun place to be in,
Right.
so it's a fine line there, but
There's
but
a
I
very
do agree. I
big,
think that
yeah, there's a huge fine line between a con man, somebody using religion to get ahead or to
yeah,
get what they want, and we've seen stories after stories of that. I don't want it to go there, but also want to have Christianity as part of our base of who we are. And hey, if you don't listen to the show, great. Love for you to listen to the show. I want you to download it. I want you to share it with your friends. But also, hey, you know what? We're going to talk about we may say a prayer. We may talk about a verse or something, something that resonates and helps you become a better person. I think the helping people with their goals is good. Helping people with what we want them to we don't want them to do. We want them to, hey, you know what? If this works for you, come on in and listen to what we have to say. We're going to help you. I've got a tremendous amount of experience. Since I was 20 years old, I started listening to motivational tapes. Well,
right.
40 years. I mean, man, I listened to a bunch, and I wanted to take that experience and help you get ahead, and I want to help everybody get ahead, and I want to help people get ahead. But also, hey, I know what's good and what's bad, and I know that Christianity, there's no better way to do it than Christianity. And
Well, I
there's
will say that the book does offer a path for a well-lived life.
yeah,
I think that again, there has been a little bit of a villainization of what it looks like for people to preach, and I think that that's where spirituality comes a little softer. But
right,
then, you also have the conversation in Christianity that is, this is the way and this is the truth and this is the light and this is how you need to operate. But again, I don't want those who are not there yet to feel alienated. So that's something that we've also talked about is, if someone doesn't if that doesn't resonate with somebody, I think the other thing too is like take what you like and leave the rest and meet us where you're at and we'll meet you where you're at as we can. And this is our truth and this is authenticity as we are. I mean, this is authenticity. So
right,
if this is who we are, then we're not going to minimize ourselves because the whole point of this show is to step into the growth that is meant for you in a way that breathes life into so many different areas of your life. And through entrepreneurship, you have to have faith because it's hard and you stretch yourself. And so where do you pull that faith from?
right,
Because if you don't have a place to pull it from, then you might not get to that third step, the fourth step, the fifth step in that entrepreneurship journey. And
yeah,
so I think that is maybe a stance that we can stand on of this is where we pull from with faith so that we can progress forward. Because when you just rely on yourself, you're white knuckling it, and entrepreneurship and growth is very, very hard. You're just like, all right, we're going, it's happening.
right,
So,
right.
at least from my perspective, that's where I come from.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I know we've got to go. We've been going past, but I do want to mention this, and I want you to finish up. But with 2024, A lot of things have happened in the oil and gas industry. A lot of things have happened with me, with you, with everybody involved in this. And I really appreciate everybody that's listened to us. Our goal is to bring you the best material out there to think about what it is that we can do to help, whether it's setting goals. You got to have a target. You got to have goals. You got to have something that you're moving toward. You got to have, and I believe that bringing not. I talked to Jordan about it, a Christian inspiration message. Inspire. I would love to inspire people to be better, right? And how do you do that? Well, you don't do that by following the devil and looking at things that under the devil's and doing things in ways that I've done in the past. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm looking at trying to help myself and help you be a better person for this world and be a better person for people that are underneath you. Which what I mean by that is your children and grandchildren and friends and being a better person for them. And that's what I'd like to do in 2025. That's part of my goals here, and we need to write those down, Jordan, and go back and forth. I know you're snowboarding, and I am so jealous. I incredibly jealous.
In Colorado, went to Vail and Beaver Creek, and
Oh,
don't too many people buy tickets to Beaver Creek because it is very nice to not have too many people on the slopes.
I
But
know.
yeah, no, it's been really fun, and the whole family was out there snowboarding on Christmas Day, and that was awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
bet. I
but I
bet.
say here's my challenge as we wrap up the show today for you, Jay, is to write down some of those goals and then share it with our audience on LinkedIn. So I will hold myself to that. Write some goals, attach a picture because apparently the algorithm likes it on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn when you share pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe write down the goals and then share a picture of those written down goals and then a little caption about it. But I challenge you to share your goals publicly that way, and I will do the same. And then we can then pull up that post at the end of next year and say, all right, how'd we do?
How'd we
Let's
do?
check in.
Hey, well, you're holding me accountable, which I love, but you're also going to have to find somebody to help me do it. So that's our goal. Laura, whoever, we need to think about who. Christine Phillips helps me with our post, and so does Laura. So hey, holding people accountable. But I want to have the
Yes.
best show for us. I do. I want Jordan to be a multimillionaire while she's on the show. I want her to be very
Hey,
happy.
I'm already started. You've already helped me get started.
Man,
So, that's
it makes me feel so good that I've helped you, and I want to help other people, and that's what our goal is. Is to give back, and we already have a job, but this is our side gig, and this is going to be something that you can make this your full-time gig because you can do one
yes.
show and you can help sponsor and you can help, and we're open and we're really really going in that direction. So anyway, I know we could talk forever, Jordan. I
Yes, we
know,
can.
I know, and you got to go snowboarding, and I got to go to work. I'm already
The
20 minutes
slopes are
late.
calling. The mink coat,
I
the
know.
slopes.
Go by and look at those. Go by in the window and look at those and go, man.
Gorsuch.
Hey, I love that.
Oof.
But
It
now,
was beautiful.
but you got to get out your pencil and your paper, and you got to write down, I want that, and this is what I'm going to have to do to get it. This is what's
Yes.
going to take for me to get there. Because I used to do that, and I used to have credit cards, and I used to go, oh, well, I can go ahead and do it now. I just put it on a credit card, pay $30 a month, and
Took everything in me to not do that. I'm
man, I
not
tell
gonna
you,
lie.
I know,
It was beautiful. It's a
I
beautiful
know.
coat.
Okay. Anyway, everybody, it's been a blessing in 2024.
Happy New Year! Merry
Happy
Christmas!
New
Happy
Year!
New Year!
Exactly. Hey, we need to be in New York on the Jay Young Show needs
Oh
to
my
come to
gosh,
New
let the
York
ball
and
drop.
or something. We need to kick it up. We need to kick it up a lot, and I need to be on the Joe Rogan Show. Me and you need to be on the Joe Rogan Show.
There you go.
Man, he's had
Yes.
2,300 guests or something. Why not me? That's what we need to. Why not me is another good thing to put it on your inspirational calendar. Why not me? Somebody's got to do it. Anyway, so
Well, we have connections. I mean, Brad Hunstable, who we had on the show, he's
yeah,
helped get Joe Rogan started. So
that's right.
maybe there's an opportunity there.
That's right. We just got to. But if we don't reach out and do something about it, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
Boom.
you, Jordan. You've been
Thank you,
awesome.
Jay. So have you.
Thanks, everybody, for being on the show, for coming to the show, to listening to everything. Thank you very much. And until next year,
Yes.
I wanted to say that forever. Until next year, we'll see you next year. Okay. Anyway, everybody, thank you. Have a great time. Thank you.